Hello, everybody. Well, we are approaching the end of the month of February, and for many of us, it's been a very quiet mid to late month, but some big time changes are in the offing. That's right, February is going to maybe go out like a lion as we can have a wave of storms working their way through. In this video, we are going to talk about three separate models, renditions of the forecast, because it's just far enough out there where there certainly are uncertainties. We'll also look at some potential for snowfall, and as you can see behind me, some in the south will see the precipitation fall as rain and maybe even some sharp thunderstorms moving out of the Rockies into the Great Lakes. Let's get right to it, shall we? We're going to start with a look at the good old-fashioned American model to get going. Now, this model, as we load it in, is going to take its path through the west coast, and that low pressure system is going to work its way out of the Rocky Mountains and sneak its way across the northern plains. Now, if you're joining me, I'd love to see where you're watching from. Drop it in the comments. David's here. Mary is here. Hi, Mary from Hillsboro. Good to have you on from the Fargo area as well. As long as it's avoiding Fargo, Corrine says, well, there's a chance, as we meteorologists like to say, that it could very well impact the Dakotas, the Rocky Mountains, and the Great Lakes, as we will show you right now. Now, here is the American model. You can see that we do have that unsettled weather in the West Coast right now. That's working its way through. Now, as we slide the slider across, we can see how things change. Some wet weather as we go through the 22nd. This is going to take place in the Ohio River Valley, through the Mississippi Delta and the Gulf Coast states. So some locally heavy rain, maybe even some good thunderstorm potential with this system. Not widespread severe, just strong thunderstorms here and there as we go through. Larry, good to have you on board from Fargo, as well as Valley City, where there's record-setting heat today in Fargo. 49 was the record. It hit 49, and for most of the country, that's not sweltering. But if you look at one of my past videos, I did a discussion about that. Look how quiet we are heading through the 23rd, 24th. The near record heat continues. Here's a little burp coming out of Canada as we close out the work week and close out the weekend. So we're going to have a couple of little tastes of cool air along the northern plains, just snow shots, not necessarily wild amounts of snow. Now, as we go through the early part of the week, look at two things. It has been so very, very stormy in the California coast, off the California coast, in towards the mountain chain between Reno and California. We're seeing a lot of snow, feet of snow. Look at where the storm is making landfall, the Pacific Northwest. It looks like we're going to return to a more stormy pattern for you folks in the Pacific Northwest. And hi, if any of you know or have relatives on the West Coast, there's going to be a change for them. Why don't you tag them in the comments or share with them what they can expect here. I'd love to have them on board and joining the conversation as well. Teresa says, tuning in from Crookston, Minnesota. I got to tell you, this storm system now, this is the 26th in the morning, making landfall in the Pacific Northwest with a lot of unsettled weather. This works its way across the northern tier, but some of that energy slides down into the Rockies, central Rockies. And as that storm system works its way over the Rockies, those tend to intensify. And here we go. As it works its way out, this American model says just this long stretched out band of snow possible, and a lot of wind, and a return to some really cold weather for the northern plains, really the Virginias and on to the Northeast. That's the American model. And look at the date. Out like a lion. These storms, by the way, as we toggle back and forth, show we could have some stout thunderstorms with locally heavy rain from places like Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia up through the Carolinas as well. Now, that's one model. What about another model, you say? Let's go ahead and compare models, and we'll give you an idea or some insight into what meteorologists look for when it comes to that. So bear in mind, we're going to take a look now at one called the European model. So I'm loading this up and getting it all squared away here. Hopefully this looks good to you. You can see it. A little bit different view here, so we'll go ahead and lower this down. Now, what you're going to notice with regards to this European model, as we set it into motion, we'll get all the way to the active time. Showers and thunderstorms as we close out this work week heading into Friday could be strong to stout in the southeastern United States. That's what's happening. Look at the cold taking hold up in Quebec. Now, as we go through much of the weekend, it's quiet with a couple shots of cool air along the northern tier. That's it. Here comes the system. Pacific Northwest, same time frame, heading into the 26th of the month, Monday. Big time storm. Look what the European model does with this, though. As it dives into the Rockies, it moves out as two waves. One wave of snow through the Dakotas, one wave of snow through the central and southern Rockies, as far south as New Mexico and Arizona. Hey, how are you snowbirds doing down there? There's a chance for some snow in the elevated terrain in the deep south once again. This storm, because of its characteristics, could bring a better chance of some more potent thunderstorm activity to the central and southern plains. See these? So we'll watch for a risk for some severe weather in the central and southern plains with this low as it makes its way through. Way too early to get too excited about the exact location and the precise timing or the threats, but just know a pretty potent storm here advertised by the European model. Look at it. Once again, going through Minneapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, and wrapping up into parts of Quebec, Toronto, and the East Coast, with mainly rain until we get to upstate New York. That's the European model. Did you like that one? What's your vote for your favorite model? Well, let's see. In meteorology, sometimes it's nice to have a consensus. So we're going to load up this model. This one is a German model, and this one here will give us an idea of, let's take a look and see what this model says, and then we can see if there's consistency. Here's what we know so far. Number one, we certainly have some consistency with regards to the fact that two models are showing big time changes as we head into the last couple of days of the month of February and into the first day or two of March. So February, out like a lion for sure. This third model can do this, not confuse us. I'm showing you the three models to give you an idea of what meteorologists look at. Consensus. We have consensus among this third model. Which side is it going to go for? Not much snow, but more wind, or is it going to go for an even snowier solution? And where? Let's take a look. Now, this model again originates in Germany, and it's a little bit different, but let's take a look at how this one progresses. Here's our late week showers of rain and maybe a couple rumbles of thunder moving through the southeast United States. Get ready for that as we head through the Thursday, Friday time frame of this work week. Heading into the weekend, quiet with a burp of snow for the northeast and the northern tier possible. But the warm-up begins in the central and southern plains and the southern Rockies, remaining quiet off the coast of California as you enjoy a break. And here comes making landfall once again in the Pacific Northwest. So for our viewers in California, there is a fair chance that you will get a break here off the coast of California with this next weather-making system hitting places like Edmonton, Calgary, working its way through Utah and Idaho and parts of Montana as well. All right, let's carry this through. Look at this, heavy snow moving through the Dakotas, and boom, wind and snow combined in the Rockies of Colorado and Wyoming. Huge upslope potential with this, by the way, in the mountains of Wyoming and maybe even northern Colorado. And look at it, we got what we would call a double-barreled low kind of taking hold. One low pressure center in Colorado, another low pressure center up here in southern Minnesota. That's going to foster a couple of different areas of intense snowfall or lift with this. But it will take one through the northern Great Lakes, and then the next storm system trails through behind it, bringing another round of snow to the northern portion of the Great Lakes, as well as a potential for strong, possibly even severe thunderstorms as we close out the 28th and head into the 29th of the month. So, all things considered, we've got a couple of models, and now it's sometimes fun to wrap up with this. And this is a caveat, a big old lump of salt that you want to take with this. This is a look at what the snowfall potential is, and we'll just look at one model when it comes to this. When we're looking at snowfall potential this far out, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Yes, it's fun to look at. Yes, you see things online saying somebody's going to get plowed by snow, and very well, somebody could get a lot of snow from this type of a spring storm system. A lot of moisture in the atmosphere, combined with a cold burst of air out of Canada. All three models have the cold, all three models have wind, but they don't all agree on the track and timing or intensity of the snowfall. Let's take a look at this German model, shall we, and put this into perspective. What does it say with regards to snowfall potential with this particular storm system? Let's get a look at this. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the progress of the snow system. Most of the lower 48 pretty quiet except for the elevated terrain through the weekend. Here it comes in the Pacific Northwest. You see the snow building in the purple colors there, the Rocky Mountains of Idaho, Montana, western Wyoming, and Colorado getting into the picture as well. Notice California, a little bit of a break with the exception of outside Reno in the elevated terrain there. Here, this model shows that we could have a potential for some snowfall in the northern plains and then possibly in and around the Great Lakes. Well, this model is saying about 3 to 4 inches in a narrow band here across the central plains after some very warm weather. That I could buy into as that cold air works its way through. Here's what we're seeing, and this is where the uncertainty is. In the Dakotas, in parts of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, northern parts of Michigan, we could see a narrow band of even heavier snow, 3 to 6 inches, maybe a little more, advertised by this model. After some near record heat, we do look like we're going to see some serious cold take hold as well. So that's a look at this particular storm system. Again, pretty quiet for most of the nation as we close out the month of February until we get to about the 26th, which is Monday, the new work week. And that's when this system makes landfall in the Pacific Northwest, bringing snow to you. And exactly the track the storm system takes across North America means who closes February out like a lion and who closes it out like a lamb. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. It's a pleasure having you on board with me here. I appreciate all your comments. Hi, Larry. Good to have you on from Fargo. Teresa from Crookston. Cheryl joining from Thompson as well. Mary says, hey, Hutch, question. I keep hearing we could get something big in March for snow with all of the fog we've had. Sometimes in the northern plains, one of the sayings is about 30 days after fog, we can get some pretty inclement weather. Some say it's more like 90 days after fog. So as a meteorologist, this doesn't always work out, and it's not something that we hang our hat on. But we definitely do have a chance for a more unsettled pattern as we go through the month of March in the northern plains. I'll have another video on that right here on my YouTube channel. I sure appreciate your likes on these videos. It really helps me out a lot. And if you're interested, you can check out my page on Facebook as well as my page here on YouTube. Love having you on board. You can scan this with your camera, by the way, and find my YouTube page and make sure that you subscribe, like the videos that speak to you. Thanks for the likes. I sure appreciate all of your comments right here. Klassen Racing says it from Winkler. Good to have you up there in southern Manitoba. Thanks for the kudos. I sure appreciate that. If you happen to be interested in checking out where Hutch is from and what I've done, I'm a meteorologist with 26 years of on-air experience here in the Northern Plains. I have taught meteorology classes at the college level for the better part of 20 years, and have done even a little bit of work in research meteorology as well. I sure enjoy talking about the weather. I enjoy your questions and trying to bring a little bit of meteorology to what you find here on the webs and streaming. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you back again sometime soon. Have a wonderful hump day as record heat continues in the northern plains and nice warm bubble of air in the central plains as well.